I usually do.
All right,
So
we're back. Part two, buddy. I had to use the restroom, and I'm back now, 100%. Continue,
100%.
continue on.
All right. Is that your prune juice you're drinking
It is, as a matter of fact. No, it's not.
for that get up and go feeling?
Oh boy.
Anyways, yeah. So I just had a thought, John, when I was taking a little break, and the government's got a real credibility problem because I don't know about you, but with all this AI stuff, I mean, I've been watching some very funny things on Instagram, these little clips and all that,
Yeah,
and some of these artists are using AI in such a great way. Mocking the politicians as they always do, which is
of
really
course.
fun stuff. But it's getting so good that how do we really know what's real or not? How do we know that?
Well, you can still kind of tell it's not to the point of perfect yet, but I mean,
Some
when
of
it
it's
gets
pretty
to the
darn
point of,
good though. Some of it's
they're
pretty
good.
darn good.
The Tom Cruise stuff when it first came out was pretty wild. Did you remember those?
I can't be specific, but I've seen some stuff that somebody sent me a clip, and it was a couple girls talking on like a street or something at night, and he says, "What part of that do you think is AI?" I said, "I don't know. Maybe the background." He says, "No, the whole thing. The whole thing. The people talking, the background, the people walking in the back. The whole thing was AI generated." I go, "You got to be kidding." So the point is that okay? So we just got done doing some deep questioning on Charlie Kirk, right? Could have
Hmm.
been this, could have been that. You know, leaving nothing out, right?
Right.
Everything's a possibility, right? With AI and all kinds of things. So, um, how do we know what is real or not? How do we get to that? How can we trust what we're being told to the degree that we used to? Like I mentioned, I used to, as a kid, I believed everything that came out of Cronkite's mouth or Peter Jennings.
No,
These guys were trusted people. They would never lie to us, and the government would never lie to us at that point. This was the benevolent government that would never ever lie. That's how much they had the people back then. But
right.
they
So
don't have
you,
that anymore, and they
okay.
still act like they do.
Mhm. Okay. So the bigger question is how are they controlling all these people? I mean, this is this. And what's interesting is those same people that were at this thing you were at that are saying those horrible things. Those are like, I mean, I don't know. I mean, I don't understand where people come up. What happened to them? What happened to
Well,
them to be
they're
so? Let me finish. Let me finish. So, what happened to them to be compromised to like have? I don't believe that they were born bad like that to believe something so horrific. I mean, at the end of the day, this is a man with a family and he's a life. You know what I mean? I don't know if like I would ever have the ability to wish harm or rub it in on somebody that got killed in front of their family. I just couldn't imagine that mindset of, I mean, so I wonder like that kind of ability to pump that person. Because look, I don't know who said it. Doesn't matter to me. But what matters to me is how they're winding people up. And what's interesting is you're talking about well educated people that are around. All those people who were at that thing were pretty like, they've been around for a while. There's a lot of people I know that have been around for a long time. People they're super educated that come up with this stuff that's like, wow, man, where did you form that opinion? Where'd that
I
opinion come
got
from?
the answer. I got the
What?
answer.
Well, no, I know the answer too. The answer is they were fed information. They don't, it's not their opinion. It's someone else's
It goes
opinion.
back to what we were talking about, though. Back in the day, right? Back in the
Mm-hmm.
70s,
Mm-hmm.
late 60s, 80s, 90s, up until I was waving flags to go get those darn Iraqis after 9/11. I was on the corner of Topanga Canyon Boulevard in Velicata waving the
Right.
American flag. Let's go get because the news told me that's what happened. So I'm a recent convert, but it goes back to what we were talking about. It's like when you believe the mainstream media, and I haven't had a television in 20 years, only to watch Netflix in Prime, and that's hard to find decent programming on those things. But sometimes I'll be traveling and I'll try to watch mainstream media. I'll go, oh my God, how do people even handle this? It's such propaganda and mind control. But they're like we were 20 years ago, 30 years ago. We believed it. We
Yeah,
thought
but
that was reality. So of course, when every single mainstream channel says Trump is a racist or Charlie Kirk is a fascist, that's reality. How could it be anything else? Because they're still in the grips of that, John. They haven't
well,
they haven't made the break, and they don't
but
question it.
you're taking a big leap. The big leap is this. Look, we're lucky because I haven't lost my critical thinking. I haven't lost my logic. Okay, so to me, my compass is still intact. So I step back and I look at, and a lot of it has to do with me in our conversations that we've had together. You enlightened me and sort of opened my eyes to a lot of things, and I saw some things that opened my eyes. I mean, I've been through a lot of stuff in the last, our lives, right? So we got to see some pretty incredible stuff growing up. But where it's at right now, I just don't understand because um, these are really smart people, or are they smart people and they're just completely mind melted? I mean, I have family members I've spoken to. I've told you these stories. Family members I've spoken to where, I'll sit back and after listening to a family member say something, and I've even said it out loud where I was like, wow, man, I feel like I'm talking to Wolf Blitzer. It's like word for
You
word.
are.
The bullshit is just
You
spilling
are.
out because they're just controlled. I mean, I just
You are. You're talking to people that are highly manipulated. And okay, so let's take your mom, okay? I love your mom. But she
Mhm.
might wake up, I don't know her schedule, but she might wake up and put on The View in the morning for an hour, right? And have to listen to that, right? And then maybe she'll turn on a news channel. And it doesn't matter if it's CNN or Fox or whatever, they're all gonna spew some version of what they want the people to hear.
Mhm.
So you're going to be trapped in that matrix because it's so it's just the American way. Television. I mean, our family grew up around television. We'd sit there probably 4 nights a week, all gathered around the TV, watching all the shows, and and watching the news and all that. So I know what it's like to be deeply indoctrinated and mind controlled, because the mind control was going on way back then too.
Yeah, but why? Again, look, someone would say to you, here's the question: You're, you know, you consider yourself a conservative? Do you consider yourself a libertarian? Do you
Yeah.
consider yourself a liberal? I mean, again, it's one of those things where you almost feel like if you don't agree with the philosophies of, the narrative that's being spewed out, wearing the mask or this or that, or this guy's a fascist. Well, I don't agree with that. Well, then okay, then you're a right wing xenophobe. Like you know, you get labeled, but that's not really the case. You know what that is? That's called critical thinking and using your fucking brain. So I think using your brain for logic, okay, call me that. That's what I am. That's fine. I just am not controlled by that dummy on TV and that doctor that tells me I got to get the jab because why? Why?
Yeah, that was another thing. I mean, a lot of people took that jab because they listened to their trusted
Oh, dude,
people.
not only they take the jab, they yelled at you and I to get the jab. They yelled at me for not wearing a mask. But the most insane part of that whole thing was like, it's like you're at the market and everyone's wearing a mask, but John's walking around without a mask. Now, you would think logically, if I have a mask on, I'm not going to get anything. And that poor slob John does not wearing a mask, so he's going to get whatever he gets, right? So I'm going to leave him alone. Why would they choose to yell at me that I don't have a mask on? I'm trying to kill him.
John, but they didn't realize that was the biggest thing. I mean, I watched you. That woke you up like crazy. That whole psyop,
Hmm.
and a lot of my friends, and it put me to new levels too of how the government will basically um, push things on you that are not good.
Yeah.
Here is an experimental drug that have never been tested. Vaccines have to go through extensive trials and testing before they're even allowed. And this thing was ushered right in, and Trump warp speeded it, the whole thing. He bought the whole narrative too, and it's still buying, it's still pushing this darn thing. So, it goes to show you, and there have been many reports of injuries and death all over the world with this thing. If this
Yeah.
was any other vaccine, that would have pulled it on maybe the first 10 deaths.
Well,
We're in the millions, and then yeah, no, it's just unbelievable. If that didn't wake you up that there's something else going on here, I don't know what can. You know, but the thing I thought about is that how do we know what truth is now? How do we know? How are we gonna navigate this new world with all this incredible AI, CGI, um, manipulated media, all that? I'll give you an example. So Bitcoin is on a network, okay?
hmm
It's a private network that's decentralized. There's no office. You can't go like talk to the CEO of Bitcoin. There's none. It's all distributed around to 100,000 computers, all running the same exact program. Okay. And the only job of these computers is to check all the other computers to make sure there's never a double spend. There's never an error in the transaction. Bitcoin is perfect money in that regard, right?
hmm
It uses an immense amount of power to do this, and it uses as much as the entire United States Navy, okay, to
Yes.
run this network, and it's immutable. You can't crack it, and it's like this greatest thing, but it takes all this power to do one thing: to tell the truth, to say that transaction that you're doing is not a duplicate transaction. It can't be
Right.
duplicated. So it's
Well,
immutable truth. And it's taking the power of the entire United States Navy to do one transaction of one job to verify the truth. How are we as a society, as a people, as a species going to navigate this? How are we going to do it? This is the big question, because everything can be manipulated.
hold on a second here. I'm gonna ask Elma for some help. I got Duke crying in the background. He's got to go to the bathroom, and I can't put this on pause. Hold on one second here. Keep talking, buddy.
I'm just saying this is a huge problem. I mean, it's because of the fact that AI is growing super fast. This thing came out of nowhere. It's taken over, right? I mean, we were just in Las Vegas. Did you see all those Waymos driving around? And then I'm talking to the Uber driver, and I go, are you worried about losing your job to these Waymos and robots? He goes, I'm not driving the Tesla right now. I go, what do you mean? He goes, I'm on autopilot. Our autopilot's as good as that Waymo stuff. It's actually going right now. It's actually surveilling all the Waymos and all the other Teslas, and figuring out the best routes. You know, everything. So he says I'm just basically sitting here talking to you, letting the thing do the driving.
hmm
So, he's basically a ceremonial object at this point. Um, that could have easily been a self-driving taxi.
Oh
So I
yeah.
don't know, John. It's a brave new world. This is a huge question, and I think what it is we have to have our trusted sources. We have to find people that are credible and are committed to the truth, and those are the people that are gonna gain a loyal following. You
Yeah.
know, and the media's got to do that. The media's got to get the trust back, and the government's got to get their trust back.
Well, we were lucky that I don't know how it happened, but when the kids had to been go back 10 years, 10 years ago or more, we pulled them out of school. I remember like volunteering at school, and not liking what I was seeing. I didn't like the, marching in one line to cafeteria, not talking. I mean, after you sat on your butt, not talking and being taught, they took all the fun out of school. They took all the shop classes out. Anything that you and I experienced in school doesn't exist anymore.
So you chose to homeschool the kids.
We homeschooled the kids, and this was
That's a
long
lot of
before.
work. That's a lot of work.
No, it's the best. Here's what it comes down to. It's um. So look, again, I came from a cartoon character, drug addict, nightclub guy, bachelor swinging guy, but you know what? I had to think in multicolor what works best for my family, and
Right.
I got hooked up with the most amazing woman that was able to, her and I went to the Orlando. Somehow we ended in Florida. I was your neighbor in Malibu or in Ventura or Oxnard there. Oxnard, I was in Oxnard, you were in Ventura. And then boom, we jettisoned out to Costa Rica.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah.
and then to Canada. And the
Yeah.
kids are too small to go to school yet. They're in like little kid, like tiny school. But then when we get back to Florida, it was like, we put them in charter school and, this is supposed to be the best school. And it was like all these politics. They were like not letting Jack have a snack. They were not letting him do this. Again, it's kind of like, you know what? No. And finally, I think, we finally had it, and we homeschooled. So the homeschooling thing is really interesting because, again, in the Orlando homeschooling, there were thousands of people there. One of the guys that was speaking said that, he would wanted his kids to learn his bad habits, not someone else's. So the homeschool dynamic is it's a lot of work, but it's the best work you'll ever do. Again, you're raising little minds, again, to the point of manipulation. I don't really care, again, I was talking to Eddie Doty on the phone today, and I asked him, I said, because some of the school teachers we had, I said, hey, did Mr. Walters ever tell you what his sexuality was? Did he ever tell you who he voted for? Did he ever tell you who to vote for? Or did he ever tell you who to sleep with? Or did Mr. Chaikin, or what about Mr. Hunter? Did they ever tell you about their sexuality or who they should vote for? This is what's going on in the school today. You got asshole teachers standing there with our kids, their people's kids, not our kids, and nobody cares who you vote for. Nobody cares who you sleep with. Just teach our kids the work. Is that so hard to ask? I mean, again, I'm a conservative for that thought. No, I'm a logical parent that wants the best for his kid, right? So that's the reality. You get labeled to believe, when you say something so provocative as that. What's provocative about that, Mark? That's reality.
No,
That's what we went to school. That's what we did. That's what we were taught. School. Did Mr. Mallon, your art, your drafting teacher, or did they ever tell you who they were sleeping with, or like who to vote for? Do you remember that?
Maybe the answer is what you did. It's like, why do we give our power to the government, especially to raise our children? A lot of people dump those kids off at 7:30 in the morning and pick them up after their after school programs at 5.
Well, you know why?
The government raises them in those
You know
places
why?
because they got to go work. They got to go
Well,
make.
that and also the ones that don't work. You know why they do that? And this is the sad reality.
They're lazy.
They're lazy and they just don't like their kids. They're
Yeah.
selfish. And
Yeah.
this is you have no business having kids then, but again,
No,
it's
I'm
too
really
late.
proud of you for doing that, John. Your kids turned out great, and yeah, you gotta be real proud of them. And a lot of it is you guys. I know Steph is really amazing, and
Oh no, Steph's amazing. But here's
you
the
are
great
too. I
part.
mean, you guys are strong, and it's not easy. Did you guys work with other parents? Did you form like a homeschooling group? You guys did.
There's support groups. But here's the greatest part, which you have to you have to wrap your mind around, because you're always going to think, oh man, am I doing it right? Are they going to be dumb as a rock? Will they be able to learn this? Oh, Jimmy's boys are learning advanced algebra at 12 years old. Oh man, well, I got to keep up with Jimmy. And that's kind of the pressure at school level. Again, Jimmy's boys, when they're 30 years old, Thank you. Jimmy's boys, when they're 30 years old, do you think that someone's going to go, hey, guess when I learned advanced algebra? Nobody fucking cares. Again, you learn when you learn, and everybody learns at their own rate. It's almost like when did it become a contest? And again, the school thing is so bizarre because I got to really step back and look at it because it's a flawed model. Because again, you got 30 people in the class, you got a poor teacher that at the time, let's just say it was one of our teachers, Mrs. Ehrenberg or whatever. It's like, she was great, but she was trying the best she could. She had no real agenda. I don't remember her having an agenda, right? So, but let's just say Miss Ehrenberg was teaching without an agenda. What is she teaching and to whom? It's like, is she teaching from the top down or is she teaching from the bottom up? And then who's getting lost in the middle? It's like you're sitting in the class kind of spinning. And, if I told you in homeschool world, complete uh, uh, top of the line, they can go to any college they want to type of curriculum, 2 hours a day of work and no homework. That's it. You boil it down, get rid of all the bullshit. It's 2 hours of real work. Now, all the extra stuff you can do, you can put whatever hours you want into it, but real hard school work, it's 2 hours, 2.5 hours, depending on, what subject or whatever, it varies. But you know what I'm saying? It's like, you're dealing with everybody else's bullshit, the teacher's bullshit, the other students' bullshit. Nobody, again, how can you navigate through that and come out? We did because we were just kind of, I don't know, was it a different time? I don't know. Maybe we're different.
No, I think you guys realized that you didn't want to turn that important you know part of their lives over to a government, and they're very inefficient anyways. A lot of these kids can't even do the basics. I'm hearing. I mean, the test scores and everything have just been on a constant decline for many years. There's a woman named Charlotte Iserbyt. She wrote a book called The Deliberate Dumbing Down of America.
Oh yeah.
She was one of the heads of the Department of Education, and her book was about how there was a plan to bring us down,
Mm-hmm.
for control purposes.
What's the first thing they're taking away?
What's the first thing they're taking away
Yeah, like the
right
real
now?
the real basic component of thought. They're taking away the critical thinking. The
Right.
critical
They were doing that to us back in the day.
Well, they're taking away the critical thinking because if you listen to any kid, they just can't figure it out. They don't want to figure it out. They don't know how to figure it out. The grind is everything. The grind is how you become successful.
Yeah.
The grind is like banging your head against the wall. It's like it's like Altieri learning how to skateboard. He was naturally gifted, but how many times did he fall before he made that turn, right? You never got to see it because he just did it, right? All the time.
Well, you and I mean, I dropped out of college. I went back later, got into a grad school, but I went back in my early 30s, but I dropped out. It just wasn't working for me, and you too. I mean, and a lot the world is full of entrepreneurs that basically dropped out. So it's not a prerequisite. I mean, yeah, if you're going to be some kind of a doctor, a lawyer, an
Yeah,
engineer, architect, yeah, there's certain things you have to go and
100%.
do the college thing, but for most people that's not it. So yeah, and to get into huge student debt for what? To get a degree in English literature or whatever. I don't know. I think yeah, there's a lot of changes going on, and I think that we can't just depend on the system to get us through it and to take care of us. I think that's the big thing. Besides like who do we trust? Where's the credibility? And I think it's like what you guys did. It comes down to personal responsibility. You got to be self-sufficient. You've got to take more control of your future and your children's. I mean, that's what it is. We can't just hand it over to Big Daddy.
No.
It doesn't work.
Well, you're seeing a lot of, I think what I see as far as this new group of people coming up, this young group, um, there's a lot of pressure. There's a lot of social media. There's just a lot of they've weaponized the social media. from the news, the organizations to whoever the bots, that put out this whatever information that this is the new blue. Blue's not blue, it's green, right? So, again, it sounds so nefarious and simple, but it is, and that's what's happening. So it's like more or less like I am constantly trying to navigate those two, Jack and Emma, and we're really honest with them, and Jack is super honest with his mom, and we talked to them about, I've talked to them about my addiction, my recovery, and what I went through, and then the pressures of what people say as far as to them, as far as the social media. There's different protocols we put into place as far as Emma's concerned. So and even Chloe, like when Chloe was coming up, she fell prey to some stupid shit. You know what I mean? There was some dumb stuff going on, and I'm sure Riley did too. That was sort of a very pre-time of the internet. And social media was
Yeah.
just kind of coming up. You know what I mean? But now it's really because they've mastered the art of manipulation. It's getting better and better. And to your point with AI, they're using a lot of different really sophisticated tools to really message the movement. And it's funny to watch those people that I just don't want to put everybody under our umbrella. But when someone says something like, "Man, I'm really glad Charlie Kirk got shot," that that right there tells me who that person is deep down from around, like who that person is, top to bottom. You know what I mean? And I can't relate to that kind of person. I just don't understand what happened to them. You know what I mean? So it's almost like it's like we've talked about when I was addicted to drugs, and all these people are walking around as zombies. There's a demonic presence in them. It almost seems like there's, in some ways, it's the same thing. The politicizing, we always kid around Trump derangement syndrome, but it's kind of like they're triggered, they're
It's the
programmed.
media. The media. I tell you, it takes an effort, a combined effort of these major media networks in order to get this message across. 'Cause it's not the predominant. It's not the way people. They force it into you, and when you're, and it comes in subtly too. You know what I mean? Like in Hollywood. I don't work in Hollywood anymore, but I have friends, and they said, "Man,
Good.
you cannot even you cannot even mention that you would ever vote for Trump, or you just ran out on a rail. I mean, you won't work. The word will get around fast." That's how tightly they keep it.
Here's the thing I don't understand. And I know that they're trying to do it. There's plenty of money. And I know that John Voight, Mel Gibson, and I forget who else is getting involved in this. But what's to stop all these guys with all this money? Just you don't have to cowtail to. And I know there's a lot of people that are conservatives pretending to be liberals, because they want to stay working in Hollywood. I mean,
Yeah.
when will that shift change? When will distribution and production? I mean, just money, and there's plenty of it on the right. I mean, why don't they take that whole arm of the business? And I know that's being tried to be done right now.
Well, it'll shift when it needs to shift. The thing is,
Yeah,
they've got to keep the balance. You ever notice, like in an election, it's almost 50-50. The government is trying to keep that balance, that split pretty even. So it's taking all that effort of Hollywood to prop up the left. The right's easy to prop up. The left is hard. They've got to
yeah,
really brainwash and
I
get in and create enemies, and they use that mass concerted effort. You saw Wag the Dog, right?
yeah.
Look at the that movie was made in the '90s, believe it or not. That's
Well,
30 years.
I don't watch award shows, but I got a clip that came through my social media. It was again Robert De Niro unhinged. Did you see that?
No, did he start bashing on Trump
No,
again the
he's
other
like,
night?
fuck
I
Trump.
mean,
He's like yelling. He's on a a grown man standing on a stage yelling, fuck Trump.
he's paid to do that.
Is he paid to do this, or is he
Of
just paying?
course.
Is he paying
Of
Satan?
course.
Is he paying Satan back for his fame? Which one
Oh,
is
well,
it?
okay, whatever bank account he needs to enrich. I don't know.
I
Yeah, no,
swear,
it's crazy, and
I can't watch him as an actor anymore because now he's just a sellout. I look
it
at him
comes
as
in it comes in full spectrum. So the people that are caught in that believe that that's reality. That's all I can tell you.
that's unbelievable.
Remember Madonna's her famous line. I've thought an awful lot about killing the president or blowing up the White House, and then you had Kathy Griffin carrying the head of Trump, severed head of Trump around, and all this stuff. They're allowed to get away with that kind of stuff, right?
Right.
On that side, but anything from the other side is completely condemned. There's a double standard, right? But it's all to keep the balance. They need to do that to keep the balance. So anybody caught up in that, it's usually TV watchers, mainstream media people. I just got done putting a roof on my place in Arizona, and one of my workers is playing that darn NPR all day. I go,
Oh,
would you please stop? That voice is like, it's so calm and
so does he
soothing.
have a headset?
It's so rational,
He doesn't have a
and
headset.
yeah, it starts to seep in a little bit. Like,
No,
they
does he have a
start to.
headset, or you have to hear it?
Oh, I had to hear it. I didn't say anything.
Ugh.
I kind of wanted to be a fly on the wall and listen to that stuff, but
Well,
it
so I
comes in
went. So wait, I
very
have to tell you.
subtly.
So I have to tell you. So when you go to the gym, do you use headphones?
No,
You never use headphones.
uh-uh.
All right. Well, at
I
my
don't
gym,
listen to music. Yeah,
everyone has. Everyone. I mean, I go. I have these Bose noise cancellation little earbuds that go in my ear, and they're awesome. They sound like I'm at a concert, right?
right.
So today I like forgot them at home, and I had to work out. There's something about the gym without the headset and with the headset. It's two different
Yeah,
experiences because you're hearing people talking.
yeah,
Well, they're not really talking, but there's like bad music playing over the system. But I had my phone like full blast, like, playing music. I was like, this is kind of loud. But then I started looking around, like everyone had earbuds. So like no one could hear it.
yeah,
So, but I would have told that guy to, again, have you ever noticed how people walk around with their phones on speaker and they're talking to somebody?
yeah.
Why do they do that?
I guess they want you to hear the conversation. I
Do
guess
they, it's like, is it like kind of like driving around in 100-degree weather with your windows down, your radio blast?
maybe. I don't know.
I'm like, yeah, buddy. Yeah, that's good stuff.
We got to look at ourselves too, because what kind of mind control are we still under? Do you know what I mean?
What's that?
What kind of mind control are we still under too? Do you know what I mean? We're
Well,
not mainstream media captured anymore, but we're
well,
what are our blind spots that we're not seeing?
well, I
You
will
know,
tell you what's funny is uh, I told you I give Buddy gummies, right? The THC gummies,
right?
and there's some other people around me that do weed, whatever. So I just have to remember like that it's not as bad as the way we were told growing up. I mean, it's actually one of the most benign things that you could do. I mean, and again, to the lies of what they told us growing up, they said that alcohol, to this day, alcohol, you can see people drinking a beer or whatever. I mean, hey, it's totally fine. It's like having no, it's not. How many people do we know that have like come down with diabetes, died of a horrible, like, their lives are short and they look like shit. They're just sucked up. The alcohol is bad, 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 bad. So, I mean, not that weed's any better, but when did the weed, a Schedule One? Don't you think it's kind of harsh? And then having this drug that is legal, that if you and I drank a glass of, you're going to go drive the car, and you got pulled over once. I got pulled over. It's
Couple
you're
times coming out
definitely
of your clubs.
you're definitely impaired. I mean, and then usually driving too fast, right? That's why you get pulled over. But with weed, I remember like leaving the Armitage's house once, and this happened to my wife also. Like she did a gummy. It was like, and she didn't really realize she's really sweet. It was like one of her first things she ever did, and she took this gummy, like a little bit of a gummy, and she's like, "Why is everybody passing me? What's wrong with everybody?" She looks down at her speedo. She's like 25 miles an hour. Now, is that dangerous? Well, I can
Yeah,
tell you, it's more dangerous than if you're driving 100 miles an hour on that highway, right?
yeah.
So she pulled over and waited till she felt better. But I mean, I don't know.
No, they were throwing people in with huge sentences for just having weed only 10, 20 years ago. So
I mean, I don't know. I don't agree with that. I don't understand that. Because again, I personally don't trust people that drink and do blow. I mean, I was one of those guys that did blow and drink, but I think I was pretty, I dealt above the, I dealt all the cards above the, but, I could see how people are compromised because, it's a drug that you want to keep doing. Right. And I saw people compromise their, time and time again over the years. I was lucky enough to make enough money to buy and spend all my money getting high. But, there was a lot of people that had to do certain weird things to get money to do certain things, right? That I'm sure they're not proud of. But now I heard those stories over the years and it's sad, but I don't know,
I
man.
just watched the Charlie Sheen thing on Netflix. Man,
I'm
here's the
I'm
guy.
blown away that he's in good shape considering what he's gone through.
Yeah, he said that he basically could just do massive amounts and stay up for days and all that. Thank God I never had that. You know, I'd get wiped out after one night. I never did those multi-day things. I could never do it. You know, thank God I didn't have that constitution. Some people did. You know,
I was guilty as charged. I think I'm trying to remember. There were some crazy stories. Like Ricky Rackman and Ricky was quoted in Metal Magazine as like, I guess it's nothing to be proud of. I think I told you this once before that he said I was the person he did the most cocaine with out of like all the different people. We're talking
you
about
never told me that, but that's quite an honor, John.
Guns N' Roses, Motley Crue. I mean, I definitely did more than they did.
Oh God. Well, you
So,
quit at 30, so that's what saved your life.
but one of the times was I think we were like everyone had left my house in Studio City when I lived in the village there, Studio Village, and it was just Ricky and I. It was like after one of the clubs, just a regular night. It was like a Monday or whatever, and it was Tuesday morning, and it's like when you get high and you start moving your mouth around. It's like it was just. I looked at him. I go, "Hey man, you want to do more?" He goes, "Yeah. Let's. I don't know. Is it far? We have to go get it." And I'm like, "No, it's not far." Remember, it was on Laurel Canyon and Ventura where Studio Village was. We had to go to Jimmy's house, which was on by Madam Wong's West off of Wilshire Boulevard. So that means I had to travel
Holy,
over that pass in traffic to
and you've been
Santa
up all
Monica. Yeah.
night.
So we get to Jimmy's house, and he was with us that night. So of course he's took a whatever to go to sleep. So we're banging on the door. Nobody answers. I go to his window. What's that on his window? Jimmy, wake the hell up, man. Wake the hell up. And like he's like laying in bed and he's sound asleep. But his window opens up about this much. It has a lock on it, right? Just enough to get my arm
Yeah.
in. So I go into the garage and I find a fishing pole. Right? This is some great thinking here, man. I'm using my brain here because we've driven all the way here. We're not leaving without this, Mark.
A fishing pole,
Fishing pole, like like one of those little mini fishing poles, right? And I
like
hook
a
up a
pocket
little,
fisherman.
yeah, exactly. It's like only like about 2 feet long. So
Oh
I
my
hook
God.
up a little like
Oh,
a
people special, huh?
yeah. I hook up a little like weight to it, like it's one of those little triangular weights, and I stick it to the window, and I get it like this, and I'm casting into the bedroom. Now the window's here, and then there's the room, and his bed's on the far wall, so we could see his head facing us, but he's sleeping, right?
And
So
they
I'm
have like a
cast,
triangle fishing
so
lure.
I'm casting, and it's hitting the wall, bump, and the next
Oh,
one hit the headboard, bump, and finally I hit him right in the head, boom, and
oh
woke
my,
him up. I woke him up. He's done. What the fuck, man? So anyway,
oh my God. Oh my God.
needless to say, man, we got it, left, kept partying. I don't know until when, and
A
then
pocket fisherman saved your day.
yeah, it
Oh,
was like it was insane. But I wasn't gonna leave after driving. It was like an hour and a half drive or more. I don't know. But the point of the story is the insanity, the drugs. But you know, in reality, that's kind of like it's a funny story, but it almost seems like what's happening today is
there's your
what's,
cat.
what's happening. What's
Punch-
happening today is a lot more severe than what we were doing back then. I think drinking. There's no doubt it was bad what I was doing, but what's happening today is much worse. I think you have no room for air, no room for air.
Fentanyl.
One.
that
one
fentanyl can take you out in one swoop, right?
dude, I when Jack goes out with his buddies, and I'm like, there's only so much I could say. I mean, he understands the dynamic, but again, even then, it's like, a drink, a joint, anything could be laced with fentanyl. You know what I mean? So it's like you could die in a pill, whatever. They don't have a chance to make a mistake. We had those chances
They're carrying around fentanyl test kits just to make sure. Yeah, it's crazy.
for drug use.
Yeah,
I'm
if you're gonna go buy some coke or something, I think bring a fentanyl test kit just to make sure that it's not laced with fentanyl.
Yeah, so I'm gonna. So that's a good time to quit. It's a good time to quit using drugs, because if you have to test your drugs that you might die from, don't you think it's a good time to maybe I should quit, right?
Yeah. Well, my career was short. I just never connected with it.
I don't think you and I ever did. Did we ever do blow together?
Might maybe a little bit. I didn't really. I mean, I moved when I moved to Aspen, Colorado. Dropped out of college, moved to Aspen, Colorado.
Right.
And I had done nothing. I was squeaky clean. I hardly had a beer. And within 3 or 4 months of living in Aspen, I had tried everything, and I thought it was fun. Go out disco dancing and all that stuff on the
Mm.
blow and all that. But I was there to ski, so I started missing some of my mornings. And I said, look, I got to make a choice. Either I'm a skier or I'm a partier. So I opted for skiing.
Yeah,
But there were plenty of people that lived up there that they were there for partying. They didn't even ski after a
of
while.
course.
They would just party. And I
You
got I
take
got
it.
stories about that, man. Whoa.
Well, Mark, look, you experienced. I mean, you experienced somebody in your life that chose a substance over a living person.
That's
Same
true.
with me. Chloe's mom was, and I think she was fighting me for ego reasons. I don't know if she really wanted Chloe, because she ended up having a lot of kids afterwards, and same kind of thing. I think one of the kids reached out to Chloe and told her some horror story. And I really didn't know what to say about that. You know what I mean? So all I know is I saved Chloe, and I don't know. People, they it becomes everything. They'll. That's what's scary
Like
about
you
it.
told me, man, you said you have no idea what you're up against. People will burn down their whole world to be able to keep doing their
Right.
stuff.
Right.
I didn't understand it. I did not understand it
It
until I
almost
tried.
seems like another for me. It almost seems like another lifetime, because I look at it as I look at now, and I have a really sensitive bullshit meter too. It's almost like, what I mean by that is, meaning like if someone opens their mouth and just tells me something, it's like right away it's like bullshit. It's like bullshit, bullshit, bullshit. Me. I. You know what I mean? It's just so it comes across so clearly now. Where before it was kind of like I was living that lifestyle and I was part of that. I'm caught up in it, but it just seems like it's like I said. It just seems like it was another lifetime away.
It was. You're a totally different person. I'm a totally different person. That's a long
Well,
time ago, John. That's 30, 40 years ago. It's a long
Well,
time.
more or less, buddy, you're right. And I think the most important part of what I want to do with this thing, if anything, is, and like I said to you, I don't really care if nobody listens to it. I know they will, maybe they will, but I don't care if they do, because this is more about you and I talking and telling the story. I think if we could tell the story, I don't think we've really even like come close to telling the real story. Oh, by the way, I told Daddy Doty I told him to ask you about Leonis Adobe. He remembered the party. I go, do you know
You
that was
remember
the?
the
I
party?
told him, huh?
You remembered the party or not? I didn't.
Oh yeah. He told me one thing I totally forgot that I think you forgot. He said Derek Racer was working the front door. Did you know that?
Right. That's right. Yeah. He was
And he says
bouncing.
he walked up and Derek Racer was in the middle of like a full blown fight.
Oh my God.
So he said that
Oh my
Derek
God.
and like five guys were going at it, like there were fists, like people were getting punched. And I told him the story. I go, I didn't know anything about that. But what I did know was I ended up cracking Mark's window to get the hell out of there. You know what I mean? So
I
I got
walked by there the other night going to the sagebrush, and I saw the barn. I saw
really,
the whole place where we had the barbecue and all that. Oh my God.
yeah.
If we showed up back there, I wonder if they'd run us out of Dodge.
Well, this is what made me really want to talk to Doty, because I wanted to hear like Eddie's take on that party, because he showed up and that was one of the things he saw was first like a fight. And I told him, yeah, David Lewis had his captain's cap on. He was standing on top of the kegs serving beer. I'm like, I
Did
think it was
Eddie have
so,
fond memories of the first annual Inland Beach party?
yeah. But I told him, I said, he goes, wait, you guys just left the party? I go, yeah, it was the very first time I've ever done that. I'm not proud of it, but I will tell you we had to go.
That thing was that ended so fast for us. I
We
mean,
had to,
that went
we
from
had,
0 to 100, and then we were out of there within an hour and a half, John. That was
I just
unbelievable.
like to know what hell happened after we left.
We've gotta put out a thing in our network. Like anybody that was at the first annual Inland Beach party in Calabasas at the Leonis Adobe, please get a hold of us because we want to hear your story.
Oh my God. There were a lot of people there. I mean, there
You
was,
know, I should ask Eddie Vale. I bet he was there. I
well, Eddie
bet Eddie
Doty was
Vale was
there. Eddie Doty's going to be on. I'm going to do an Eddie Doty on Thursday.
there. Yeah. Call me up. Call me up. I'll join in your podcast. I
That'd
gotta
be,
hear some of this.
yeah, that'd be funny. Yeah, I think you can do three people on this. I'm
I
almost
don't know.
positive.
Yeah. If
But I
not,
like this sort of, hey buddy, let's wrap this one up and then go to the next one. Um,
sounds good.
but what I wanted, we didn't even really talk on like some of like there was a couple things I wanted to talk about. We actually kind of talked about it, but there's some other things I want to talk about with you that you and I always talk about that we never really kind of touch on. I talk about in the sauna when I go to the gym, and people kind of go, "Do you have a podcast? You should like put that on. You should like podcast that." So it's some interesting content. I mean, there's some stuff that you and I always pontificate about that we, I think the part of me that, how can I say this? I don't want to believe that we're right. Okay. I don't want to stand and go, well, they're wrong and we're right. I want to believe that the search for truth and questioning everything, whether it's you and I talking about pyramids, or we're talking about how the world reset 11,500 years ago, you know, all the crazy stuff. I want to know the truth. I want to know, like, I'm not a right wing conspiracist. I want to know, like, give me the logical receipts. Give me the receipts. You tell me something, then give me the receipts. Show me that what you're saying, and then I will go, okay, because you've talked to me enough times to know that if for some reason you tell me something, I may not believe it at the moment, but you may keep talking to me and give me enough information, I'll believe it, or I'll give it some real serious thought. Right?
Well,
Why?
you're starting to be my teacher now, John. You've surpassed me in a lot of your research. Yeah, no, it's I think that's great. I think that in a way all this nonsense has really woken us up. Like, hey, maybe there's more to investigate here. Maybe you shouldn't just believe the official story all the time. Maybe you should do your own homework. Take knowledge and the gathering of information into your own hands. Maybe that's a good thing.
I think
Don't
so.
trust everything that you hear,
No.
and do your own investigations and find your teachers. Find your people. That's what's so great about the modern electronic digital information age, is that if you are discerning and you do develop your spidey sense, so to speak, that you can really get. I mean, the amount of information that we can tap into now is just phenomenal, and there's a lot
Oh,
of content
agreed.
out there. It's really
Well,
amazing.
it's funny. I was talking to Eddie Doty today, and I go to quote the great Cat Williams. Now, there's different people in the world that don't know Cat Williams are, then there's people that really do. People that Eddie goes, that guy's the most well-read person I've ever heard speak. To quote Cat Williams, it's the information's out there. All you got to do is look at it and read it.
It's true.
You know what I mean?
This
And
is some
most
old
people,
George Carlin stand-up,
yep,
like from 20, 30 years ago. Spot on.
spot on.
Listen.
But it's like look over here, but don't pay attention to this over here. It's kind of like, whoo, and then you're crazy because you don't agree with me, and I'm not even gonna spend time, it used to be Insomnia, 1990 when we opened up Insomnia. You could sit down and have a cup of coffee and have a conversation with somebody. No, there wasn't any of this, and there wasn't computers, right? Okay, but we could talk. Now, how hard is it sometimes to talk to somebody that, you even said yourself, you censored yourself at this event because you want to stay friends with somebody. But again, it's kind of like, okay, that's decorum and that's class, but would they have done that to you? Right. So it's like, if you were saying, if the shoe was on the other foot, would someone coming at you? Right. So
It's
I
all
don't know.
innocent, though, John. It's them fishing to just see if I'm a kook or not. See, anybody that has a different opinion than the official narrative is a kook. So that, I mean, I used to be that guy. I know what that's like. I mean,
No.
how? I mean, back in the day, how could you question the moon landing or the Kennedy thing or whatever story there was? You'd be a kook. You'd be an absolute kook.
I like AJ Benz. I think his name's AJ Benz from the Y Files. He goes, I'm 50% for sure, not sure about the moon landing. It's like, that's me. I don't, I mean, none of it makes any sense, but then how could they have pulled that off? It's fucking great. I mean, think about that.
It's brilliant. It's absolutely brilliant.
and then, if that was the case where, what was the director? What was his name?
Stanley Kubrick.
Rubbing in their face, like in, The Shining. And then for going one step further, and, they killed him. They killed him for, Eyes Wide Shut,
Yeah, yeah. No, there's a lot.
Allegedly, let's use the word allegedly killed him.
We're going through Revelation. It's very
Yep.
biblical. A lot of things are being revealed that were never revealed before. The whole veil is lifting, is getting thinner, but not for everybody. If you're still that darn television is such a weapon.
Mm.
It's an innocent weapon that gets into your house, and there's a great movie. I don't know if you saw it. It was called Network back in the '70s with Faye
Oh
Dunaway
yeah, sure.
and
I'm not gonna take this anymore. I'm sick of it.
right, Howard Beale, and it goes through all this, and then he says this is the most awesome freaking weapon ever devised. Is that darn
Mhm.
television, and it's so true. It's an
Well, one of the
information
cool
war. We're at war now. We're
look
at war.
you've done this. You've done this for a while, but I did it because, look, in my house I have like 7 cable boxes, 6 cable boxes. Streaming everywhere. That's just because we live with this. That our offices are here, right? So, um, one day I said, "Fuck it," grabbed a bag and put every cable box in the bag
Did
and
you
took it.
really?
Yeah, and took it over to Comcast, or what was it, Verizon or whatever, Verizon, and
Wow.
I said, you know what, I'm done
That's like
because
quitting drugs. That's
what's
hard.
that?
That's like quitting drugs. I mean, that's
Oh, it
hard.
was hard because, okay, it was hard at first because then I had to kind of go, okay, all these TVs have these great apps on them. So, I mean, I've now narrowed it down to 2 apps, right? So, and I see everything. So there's really no missing anything. But what's cool about YouTube, what I like about YouTube is it curates what I like. Like I get to
Yeah.
go in there and when I want to watch something about Graham Hancock, or if I want to watch something about Joe Rogan, or if I want to watch Davari Dawkins, like a podcast or whatever, or Sean Ryan. All that stuff sort of cycles in. Then I'll get like, I like talked about the WNBA, then all of a sudden the WNBA stuff will come in. The controversy between Caitlin Clark, and you don't get to see that. But what's great is those are little, like, I think the longest those clips are like 10 minutes, 5 minutes.
Yeah.
15 minutes. I'm not on the TV end of it. I'm on the YouTube Premium, where it gives me, I think I get a full update of the news in 18 minutes. I
Yeah.
don't have time. I don't have time for the bullshit. And
Oh,
it's
it's great.
coming.
That's tailored content for you, which is great. But they heavily censored. They would not let any contra COVID information in on that vaccine. They let a lot of people down a very dark path because
On
they're
regular TV.
what's that?
On regular TV.
No, on YouTube. YouTube was heavily censoring any
Oh
any any
yeah.
COVID. They would call it COVID misinformation and not let it through, which would cause the demise of a lot of people. So
Dude,
yeah, there's a
Joe
price to
Rogan
pay.
got it. Joe Rogan should thank them. I think they promoted his channel to the tune of, I think he got another 1.5 million of users subscribing
Yeah,
when he brought on the mRNA trademark. What was his name? Robert.
Malone.
Yeah.
Dr.
All
Robert
right,
Malone.
buddy. I'm gonna say goodnight. It's late here. Let's just do this. Maybe come in with Eddie Doty on Thursday.
Yeah,
Today's.
yeah, that'd be fun. We got to talk. We got to talk. Daniel.
Well, I'm scheduled for surgery. I'm scheduled for the new knee on the 23rd.
All
So
right.
that's Tuesday. So I'd love to pack in as many shows as we can and talk
Yeah.
about as much stuff, because I'm going to probably be in a world of pain for the first, like,
Oof.
I'd say week, but then
A
afterwards,
week. A full week of pain. Huh? Wow.
like maybe you go off the nerve blockers for the first 2 days. It's pretty severe, and then after that, it's okay. It still
You can't
hurts, but
continue on until the pain subsides, or they want to get you off the nerve blockers quick.
well, nerve blockers. So they go in through an epidural through your back, and then they hit you with like the propofol to put you to sleep, and then they go and put the knee in, and then when you wake up, they want you to like start moving right away.
Oh,
So you have ice on it, and then you have, like, the knee has to. Let's say this is the bend of the knee. It has to be at 0%, and then you have to have the being able to bend it back. So you have two different things. You don't want to ever have your knee like, or you don't want your leg where it has like a bow in it. So
yeah.
anyway, we'll talk about that later. Mr.
Cool, man.
Gordon,
All right.
Mr.
Hey, JD.
Mr.
Thanks a lot
Gordon
for
from
talking.
Ventura. You're in Kentucky, right? Kentucky,
Kentucky.
California.
I'm in Kentucky.
And I'm in Jupiter, Florida, and I say goodnight to my good friend. All right.
Over and out.
Hasta la vista, señor.
Adios, muchacho.